you satisfied with
Yeah.
that aspect of it?
I mean, obviously we'll go back through the tape and take a look at some of the finer points by each individual guy. But I mean, overall, definitely, for me, we got to do a better job. It starts with me. I got to do a better job coaching, and we got to get these guys ready to go, and we got to go hopefully do a better job executing out in the field. So, that's where we're at. Obviously, we got a lot of work to do. It's the time of the season, of the preseason, where we got to get going and we got to see some of that consistency and we got to start seeing some production. So, we got a big job in front of us here.
Were you disappointed in the pressure they were able to get on Stafford? He got sacked a couple times, they hit as he threw one, seemed like every drive he was affected that way.
Sure. I mean, I think, just in general, like I said, our execution's got to be better overall. And, some of those situations, there's different facets to those plays, so it might be a little bit of a different circumstance than just maybe looking at just the protection. So I think we got to, again, go back and really try to improve and get better. Obviously, it didn't perform very well, and, it's going to start with the coaching, and I got to do a better job.
Do you think you worked your guys too hard over the last 2 weeks, joint practices in a row, a lot of padded days, a lot of long practices? Do you think maybe you worked them a little too hard?
Yeah, no, it's football. I mean, we're out there trying to get better every day, and really, to be honest with you, the practices are critically important. That's where we got to make improvements and get better, and we're going to be able to do some things in practice that we can't do in a game, and look at some different areas. So it's important that we get those looks. That's part of the game, and that's part of training camp. That's what it's supposed to be, and that's how that's how you get better.
But I mean more just the balance of trying to keep guys somewhat fresh versus having them just worn down in game situations.
Sure.
They look like they're not even going to.
Yeah, I don't think, if you look at the play count for some of our guys here, I don't think we're really rolling 110 plays from that aspect of it. So I think it's okay that we work them through training camp and get better.
Did you feel like early on your offensive and defensive lines got maybe manhandled a little bit?
Yeah, I think I would say overall, I didn't think everybody, skilled wide receivers, DBs, defensive line, offensive line. I don't think we played particularly well at all at any position. It's easy kind of just to pinpoint those guys, but I would say look at the perimeter and look what's going on in some of the other positions, and I would say that the whole thing needs to be improved.
You've reinserted Jake Rudolph and then Matt Patricia in the last 2 games. Is that just a situation where you want to put them in certain situations, or do you want them to be ready to come off the bench at a moment's notice, or is there a
Sure. Yeah, there absolutely is. You're trying to mix those guys in certain situations and obviously rotate them and try to make sure that they get, a good amount of reps that you can evaluate from that standpoint. And if it tilts one way or another, you got to change it up and make sure you get back into those situations. We obviously had a situation last week where we were able to kind of get them some real specific end of half type plays. And so this game, it was just one where we felt, all right, well, let's go back and try to see if we can get a little bit of a similar situation to evaluate.
What did you learn about the
Go ahead.
What did you learn about the backup quarterbacks tonight to help you make your decision going into the regular season?
Yeah, I think we still got a long way to go there, and we'll take a look at the film and really kind of look at the big picture evaluation. It's certainly there's that their play is one aspect of it, but the play of the teammates, it's that team game atmosphere to really understand how it all fit together. So probably better off the film to evaluate that tomorrow. Yep, you're welcome.
The importance of red zone defense and checking things up there. I just wanted to see 3 10-plus yard touchdown runs this season.
Sure. I mean, we never want to let them run the ball in, so that's never going to be acceptable. So not real happy with that.
Why do you place like some guys like Blunt and carry on and Luke Wilson to the third or fourth quarter where maybe those guys seem like they're lost spots instead of some of the young guys?
Sure. Did you say why did we? I just think again, we're trying to get these guys enough reps out there where we feel like they're producing at a high level, or at least improving, or trying to get a good evaluation of them. So it's not a specific thing where we say, hey, at the end of the first quarter, at the end of the second quarter, at the end of the first drive, it's a, hey, how many reps we got? What does it look like? Do we need to keep going? How is it going? What are the plays that they've gotten? And just keep trying to get a good evaluation of all those guys.
What did you like about what you guys did tonight?
I'd say for me right now, I'm going to be, not overly pleased with anything at the current moment. So maybe a couple days here, when you ask that question, I'll find something out of the tape that we can go there with. But right now, again, it starts with me. We got to coach better. I got to coach better, and we got to do a better job getting these guys ready to go.
You mentioned that a couple of. Why do you think your team played like that today? You seem very disappointed, and I understand why. Why do you think they came out?
Sure. I hate to lose, so that's going to be my first and foremost. Obviously, I'm disappointed that we didn't come out and compete better. And again, I thought we should have just coached better, played better, and been in better position to be successful at the end of the game.
Now that you've seen it for a couple games, do you feel like you have enough talent on the offensive and defensive lines to win once these games start to count?
Sure. It's way too early to get into those kind of assessments, and I think all of those pictures are going to look different now than they will in September, and then they'll look completely different in October and November. It's just kind of how the season goes. As training camp and preseason rolls along, we're only 15 practices in. That's the one thing that gets a little bit confusing for everybody because of the way that everything's set up. We're not that far along as what we've been maybe in previous decades that we've been able to practice twice a day and kind of get some progression and some advancement in our play. So we've got a long way to go there.
But you've been around the game long enough. I'm guessing you have at least a feel for you've gone at this point, right?
Yeah, the thing about it is that when you do evaluate your team, you never go too far left or right because you understand that it is a constant competition, and what you want to do is get to the end of that preseason mode and take a look at the full pie and see what does that full picture look like. So it'd be too early right now to kind of go into that mode. Go ahead.
We saw two receivers set early in the game a few times with Kenny and Marvin. What is it about that?
Yeah.
What you're trying to see?
Sure. Yeah, sometimes in those two receiver sets, you can dictate a little bit defensively what they're going to be in, and you want to try to maybe take a look at those packages and how they do against those sort of coverages or fronts or the run game against that sort of look. So it's definitely one where we're trying to identify what they do against maybe different personnel that we use, and then get a good evaluation of how we are against those defenses or those packages. So that's certainly something that we're trying to do in those cases. The receivers are just, they're rotated based on however the play count is, but there is with the personnel itself, that is something that we're trying to look at.
So don't get too much into goal behind those two.
Yeah, no, it's more, again, we're just trying to get the play counts out there, and we're going in and out of different personnel groups, so have it kind of sketched out that way.
I know we're questions for Coach. Apples and oranges comparison maybe a little bit here, but like spring training baseball, they'll send a pitcher out there to work just on his changeup. He might get hit pretty hard, but it was important for him to work on a play. How much of that is preseason football, where you're sending guys out there to work on something that's very specifically, kind of the balance of winning and losing preseason versus working on something?
That is definitely a very difficult task, because there are certain aspects where you want those guys to go out and work on a particular thing, whatever it is that maybe is maybe lacking or you would like to see at game speed, something that maybe you haven't been able to replicate in practice. So those situations do come up, and you understand that. The competitive nature, though, you want to try to execute it at a high level like everything and be successful. So that's the balance of it, but there certainly are situations out there where we're trying to look at certain things to get an evaluation of it, absolutely.
Fans want to see the tape for any final evaluations on guys, but just first impressions of Ziggy getting out there.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I obviously noticed him on a couple plays, but I'm going to have to go back and look at the tape there, and just, it was good from a standpoint of he was out there working hard. I think overall as a team, I'll say this, I thought that from a conditioning level standpoint, it didn't really look like we were tired. Now I'll look at the film and evaluate that, but from a conditioning standpoint, it looks like we're moving in the right direction. We're not there, we haven't arrived as far as that's concerned, but moving in the right direction, and hopefully we'll be able to kind of keep building the reps and the game reps, and we work towards that goal of, hopefully getting towards being ready for a full game.
Last question. Notice right away, Coach. Did you notice that?
Say again, I'm sorry. Yeah, well, you know what? You notice it right away when your team is, in the heat. And obviously, we're at home, so this was a good experiment for us to be home, and see how that affected us. But you will notice when your team is tired right away, and get some of those long drives, which, you don't like, but you like because you need to evaluate them. And it's one of those situations again where you're sitting there saying, all right, this isn't particularly good, but it's a good opportunity for us to evaluate the players in a 10-play drive and how do they respond and how they react and what kind of conditioning levels do they have when they get into that drive. So that's definitely part of the process because you don't want to wait and find out, week one. That'll be too late. Okay, appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Matt.